I am distracted, whether I'm waking up in the morning, going to bed, working, eating, or even when I'm on the toilet. I am distracted. Do you remember the last time you took a dump without your phone? Let me share with you an interesting number. Ever since smartphones came into our lives, the time people spent sitting on the toilet increased significantly. More on that later. I came to a point where distractions are basically managing my life. There are a lot more distractions in my life than I ever wanted. Hi, I'm Erik, and like many of you, I'm struggling with distractions. Whether it's the constant ping of notifications or the urge to check social media, what if I tell you that distractions are a lot more than just external interruptions? They are deeply connected to our feelings. Today, I want to share with you how I discovered that the root of my distractions wasn't just my environment, but how I felt inside. Let's dive in.
Did you know that the average attention span today is just 47 seconds? But what exactly is attention span? So apparently, it's the time our brain stays on task before drifting off. Research by Dr. Gloria Mark from the University of California shows a worrying trend. Our attention span is getting shorter and shorter, from 2 minutes 30 seconds back in 2004 to just 47 seconds in 2023. We want our brains to work just like the latest and greatest technology, but in reality, our brain often worked like an old laptop from the 90s. Let's talk about multitasking. Originally, it describes how computer processors handle tasks. Can you recognize the moment when your brain gets tons of errors and then it shuts down? So do I. We can't really multitask like computers. After dealing with so many distractions, I realized something. I need to figure out how can I use my brain better. And as Newport wrote in his book Deep Work, your ability to concentrate is only as strong as your commitment to train it. So, I decided to listen to Carl's advice and commit to train my brain. My goal was simple. I want to use my brain better. But what does it mean? If we'll try to figure out how the brain works, we'll see that we're all both passive and active. I want to be more active and own my decisions. The thing is, we all share same technology, the human brain. What if you would get a book called BrainOS User Guide? Life was easier, right? That's not the case, but it's important to know that the human brain hasn't really changed much in the last 1,000 years, and it's very similar to the brain of the ancient man. Its main goal is to survive on Earth, and the tools it uses would be feelings, emotions, thoughts. Hormones and imagination are important as well, but today we'll focus on feelings and emotions. There are negative feelings such as hunger, tiredness, and pain, and also negative emotions like fear, anger, anxiety. Positive feelings would be energetic, satiety, and relief. And for emotions, happiness, calmness, and enthusiasm are all positive. This is all nice, but the important thing we should understand is that feelings and emotions are signals that allows the brain to understand what's happening in the outside world. Both positive and negative are important. Now, we have a problem. We all have too many distractions. But do you really understand what distractions are? So distractions are a self-defense mechanism for emotional regulation. And it means that distractions allows the brain to shift attention from negative to positive. Let's make it simple. I just want to do more with my time. What makes it so hard? And how can I make it easier? If we want to use our time and energy in a proper way, we'd need to focus. And as you remember, our attention span is not so great. But how our brain decides what to do? With a very unique neurotransmitter you probably heard about, dopamine. People get confused and think that dopamine's role is to make us feel good. That's not quite right, and it can even be misleading. The role of dopamine is to guide us towards experiences and behaviors that will increase our chances of surviving on Earth. But unfortunately, it doesn't always get it right. And sometimes it can act like a little voice in our head saying, "Eat the donut even if you're not hungry. Who knows when you'll find food again?" This might have been helpful when food was rare, but nowadays, it leads to unhealthy cravings and distractions.
Okay, look, I'm not a neuroscientist, but I've been obsessed with understanding how the human brain works for years. I've read so many psychology books. I've listened to countless hours of podcast episodes. I even participated in one of Tony Robbins' webinars. I experimented with a lot of tips, and some of them are useless. But I'm here to share with you all of the information that I could find and what I used to become less distractible, which is the one thing that actually made me do more and take actions. One of the biggest breakthrough that I had was discovering the Huberman Lab podcast, and particularly one of the first episodes of the podcast, which is how the brain works and change. In this episode, he shares what is neuroplasticity and what are the things that you should do in order to work with your brain instead of against it. Another huge influence was the guy that I quoted a minute ago, Newport. His books, Deep Work and So Good They Can't Ignore You, are just fascinating. He shares so many useful information, and if you follow it, I guarantee that you'd be able to become a lot more focused. He talks about deliberate practice, which is one of the most important things in my life right now, and he talks about how can you gain valuable skills, improve them, and stick to get better. What I realized was that all of these ideas were interconnected. Andrew Huberman basically explains the why behind all of the tips that Newport shares. This knowledge has transformed my life. I've learned to manage distractions, overcome procrastination, and achieve level of focus I never thought possible. If I should sum it up to one line, for me it would be how you can overcome distractions by dealing and facing negative emotions in the right way. Because when you know how to meet your negative emotions, you'd be able to handle all of the distractions a lot better because you would know yourself. So let's begin talking about the practice. Here's the thing. Blocking apps is just one part of the solution, and it's the easier part. As I said before, distractions come from feelings, and usually the negative ones. We build the habit of using social media as a quick escape from our reality, but it doesn't fix the real problem. 5 steps to turn negative feeling into positive action. 1. Name it. Notice what you're feeling and give it a name. It is sadness, boredom, frustration, anxiety. Just like stomachache tells you something wrong with the food you ate, negative emotions are your brain's way of telling you something isn't right. Put a name of it. Try to figure out what it is that you're feeling. 2. Own it. Remember, you're the one creating this feeling. Negative emotion does not just come from nowhere. They are a part of you. So try to embrace the fact that you created them. 3. Think it. Say it out loud. Write it down however you want. But please, thank the part in you that created these feelings. That part is only the brain tries to help you. Be kind to yourself. Thank the part in yourself that built it and created it. It's here to help you, to protect you. And even if it doesn't feel right, this is the way your brain knows how to act. It's a learning process. Embrace it. 4. Weight the cost. It might be hard to see it at first, but being distracted has lots of benefits. Whether it's being lazy or angry, all of these kind of things has a lot of benefits for us. What are the costs of being distracted? And what are the benefits of being distracted? These are 2 very important questions that you should ask yourself. When you will understand both the costs that you're paying and the benefits that you're earning, it would be a lot easier to understand what would you rather feel. I promise that I will create another video specifically on this step because it's a bit complicated, but if you would follow it in the right way, you would get much of relief. The 5th step, look to the future. Try to tell your brain what you really want to do. And even if it's funny, you should have a conversation with your brain, because you know those moments when you need to focus on something very urgent and all of a sudden you are so distracted, everything is very hard for you, but you need to stop. Take a walk outside, do whatever you want, but try to speak with yourself. Have a conversation, an inner conversation. And in it, try to figure out what are the parts in your brain that try to block you, and then make them understand that this is important. And right now, you would need to be focused for the next couple of hours. Helping the brain understand why we're doing the things we're doing would make it a lot easier to focus. At first, this might take some time, but the more you practice, the easier it gets. There's more of this process, of course, but let's start here. It helped me, and I really hope that it will help you too. Overcoming distractions is a daily practice, and this is something we should all do on a daily basis. I put a lot of effort in these videos, and I'm just beginning to understand how can I put my camera and what are the things that I should prepare before shooting the video. Thanks for watching. Seriously, I hope that I'd get better very soon. Love you all. I would much appreciate if you'd be able to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.